Welcome back everyone to another Company Affairs 2 Replay Cast. And this time we are going to have a 2v2 sent in by, I think, Adamir Magnum. And his buddy is going to be Naboo. They're going to be playing as the Soviet Union and the British. And they're facing off on, of course, Trapon against Melkor as the OKW and Imperial Dane. Yes, apparently it's him. As the Wehrmacht. He's playing with the encirclement, so cool glasses guy. Interesting. This is gonna be fun. Alright, so Trapon, what a map and a half. Of course, fuel points, basically just lots of heavy cover, but pretty easy to, well, on the right side with the cemetery. Left hand side, a little bit of light cover, and a pretty good terrain for machine guns and the likes. Both sides can kind of grab both sides and, you know, roll along with it. Of course, the VPs also on the extreme ends, with the central VP being the annoying bridge. Anyway, first engagement is going to be coming in, and we have a cube wagon trying to fight off these infantry sections, getting behind their directional cover and putting it down a lot of nasty fire. The Sturm Pioneers are also going to try to close in, and that is going to force back these infantry section troops back into the building, which is going to be okay for them. I mean, they're starting to take some pretty big damage, taking one model casualty, but of course the Vickers machine gun is going to come in to save the day, hopefully, for the British. And yeah, right now, as you can see, that cube wagon's not in the best of positions. It's going to take a massive burst from the Vickers machine gun, and now the guy's going to reload and finish off that nasty vehicle. Well done on Naboo's part. Unfortunately, Melkor was not able to get that cube wagon away. He probably should have just driven it along to the western end to the left and tried to get behind the arc of fire of the machine gun and then get around through the manor. But alas, it was not to be, and right now his infantry is also taking some pretty nasty beating from that machine gun, already suppressing the Volksgrenadiers. The Sturmpile is getting in close and doing a lot of damage against the not combat engineer. I keep wanting to call them engineers because they're the first unit that came into the field. But yeah, the infantry section being forced to retreat out of the building. And so the Pioneers are going to just occupy that and fight with the combat engineers. Unfortunately for the Pioneers, they're alone and doing well. And right now, these infantry sections and the heavy machine guns should be able to just at least force them away. Of course, this is coming to a kind of a price for the Allies, and right now the Allies are losing the right-hand side of the map. We have a couple of Grenadiers from Imperial Dane. They're pushing up against this conscript squad in the building that's huddled up, and the machine gun is preventing more conscripts from coming in and reinforcing. Of course, these conscripts are having to kind of stay hang back and occupying the church, but yeah, not really able to do too much. Of course, they're going to capture that 7 point, but that's not really too important. What's important is going on around the north and the VPs. Don't want to lose those fuel points either, and right now it is one-on-one for the fuel, so that's kind of an okay position for the Axis. Of course, the Allies are they're at a bit of an advantage when it comes to resources because they have more strategic points, and that would be pretty good. Of course, finally some flame engineers coming in from Adamir. Those are going to be pretty useful at dealing with these buildings, especially over here. This southern facing of the building only has 2 windows, so it's actually relatively easy to sneak up a combat engineer and roast those Volksgrenadiers. In the meantime, in the south, we have Adamir doing his own thing and trying to push up with his conscripts. However, he's going to get pushed on by a Pioneer squad, and of course the Pioneer squad plus the machine gun is, or actually 2 machine guns, is going to be a very deadly combination. The Pioneers force them out of the building, and the machine guns pin them when they're outside of the building. So of course they're going to try to retreat, and yeah, that would be a pretty good idea right now. Right now, infantry section's also moving up, and nice usage of that barbed wire just to prevent them from getting out there. Unfortunately, the Volksgrenadiers had another exit, and they were just able to get out on the western side. But that still kind of leaves the British as the main controllers of the left-hand side, whereas the Germans are really starting to push on the right side, moving actually up with the machine gun and the 2 Grenadier squads into the backyard of the Allied base. This would be a very good cutoff move, so Imperial Dane playing aggressively, very well done. However, the only problem right now seems to be that his 2 machine guns are being pushed up so aggressively. I think that this is just basically the best way to get them destroyed in some way or another. So we're going to need to be careful if we're Imperial Dane about our machine guns. Of course, machine guns double machine gun is because of the ambush training that he can get. That is pretty good from the encirclement doctrine. Because you can use that to pretty good effect with the ambush on machine gun. It's not something that people usually expect. Anyway, combat engineers are going to get into that building, but oh, these Sturmgewehrs should easily smash them to bits. And yeah, they're going to have to escape out of the building. Please run away. Oh no, lots of damage. Yeah, okay. So Adamir Magnum does not lose his engineers. Oh, this might have been a bad idea. Oh no, okay. He decides to retreat through the right path. Wait, what? You can move across there. I didn't know. I thought that was impassable. Anyway, nice flank from the south, actually, from Adamir Magnum, and he's putting up a lot of damage against these German troops, and that forces them back, and that also is going to force these two machine guns to escape out of there. Otherwise, they're going to get flanked, and as you can see, already they're getting flanked. That was not... Well, I mean, they're trying to back-to-back this, just like in action movies, but it's not going to work. I mean, someone can just come in from the side, like these infantry sections are doing, while, of course, all that these conscripts need to do is just stay there, and all that these conscripts need to do is push up, and yeah, there goes the machine guns, forced away. I mean, that was pretty okay. Still, though, Imperial Dane was able to cut off the allies for a while, and that was a very, very good result for him. If he can continue doing that, then he's going to be in a very, very good position. Of course, he went with a double machine gun, though, so it's very, very good when he defends, but it's not as good when he pushes up. Relatively inadequate to push up with the two machine guns. So he's going to need to bring out something like a flame half-track, which he's doing, to really bring him a little bit more extra offensive power. Although at this point, he's only got 87 munitions, so he can't even upgrade that flame half-track with a flamethrower, or that half-track with a flamethrower. Of course, that... Oh, right. I was still stuck on the 120. Right, so he can't upgrade it right now. Okay, that would be a pretty good idea, I think. Unless he wants to use it to reinforce the machine guns on the field. Oh, he's gonna bring up the machine guns with the half-track. That's an interesting decision. So the left-hand side still going very, very strong for the British, and they're pushing back these Volksgrenadiers rather easily, of course, with the combined fire of the infantry sections and these sappers. Although the sappers are taking nasty, nasty damage, they're gonna have to escape. The British also have an AT gun, and they've still got that Vickers, which is providing some very, very good supporting fire to the British infantry in those engagements, and that's been very, 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 very key to their success, because the Volksgrenadiers already are weaker than the infantry sections, and on one-on-one fights they usually lose, but with the support of the Vickers, it is much, much better. Of course, the Germans only now getting the MG34 to support, because of course, Melchior with the OKW can only get the MG34 after he builds at least one truck, which he has done now at the battle headquarters, but still, that's not enough. Right now, here comes the conscripts. They're gonna AT grenade that half-track, and of course, with the AT grenades around, the possibility of a flame half-track being all that useful, well, it's not really that realistic. And right now, yeah, Imperial Dane is desperately trying to get some reinforcements to this guy, but it's not working, and so the MG42 crew is going to be destroyed. A rifle grenade pops a lot of these conscripts, but the second machine gun can't really finish off these enemy infantry squads because of the cover of that church. And right now, the British are pushing up, and these infantry sections are just doing massive, massive damage against those Sturm Pioneers, so there's not really much that they can do at long range, with the infantry sections being so damn superior. Naboo has also gone for Special Weapons Regiment, so that means, of course, AT rifle sections, which is actually not that bad of an idea, because I was actually kind of expecting a flak half-track out of Melchior. He did not go for that, but right now, Melchior does have 130 fuel, so he might want to go with the Schwer Panther headquarters. Still, some kind of vehicle is going to be coming out of the Germans sometime soon, so getting that extra bit of AT would not be that bad of an idea. Of course, kind of sacrifices some anti-infantry capabilities with those AT rifles. But, I mean, it's only one AT rifle. Actually, no, two AT rifles. Still, though, he can use this AT rifle squad against light vehicles, and, yeah, I mean, they've got that great AT grenade, so even just having one is just great for the AT grenade, because the Brits, of course, lack vehicle snares, so having that is very, very useful. Right now, though, we have the support gun on the field for Melchior, so he's going to need to be careful and try to get some kind of counter to the support gun soon. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to play defensive. And of course, we all know how much the Brits like to play cautiously, at least, if not just outright defensively. Conscripts moving up with the Papashas from, of course, Advanced Warfare Doctrine, which has been picked. Advanced Warfare can be very, very strong. Of course, Papashas are pretty useful to flank around machine guns, but Adamir has a 800 manpower stockpile and 180 fuel, so I wonder what he's going to go for. He's only upgraded tier 1, and right now he finally gets his combat engineers back into base. I wonder, yeah, we do have the Tank of Battalion Command. We might even see the Mechanized Armor Company, which would be a very, very good decision, I would think. Here comes some Stormtroopers from Imperial Dane. He's going to go for some bundle grenades, taking out a few of those infantry section guys, but these Stormtroopers, lots of munitions being spent on those Sturmgewehrs, and right now, here comes the, half-track from Naboo, the resupply half-track, which is basically just the, weapon rack, except better, because it's a half-track and can reinforce people. Of course, right now he's going to start to spam out some of those Vickers Ks, which are a little bit better than the Brens. So overall, this is a very, very good choice. Also because it's going to allow him, I'm not sure if he's going to want to do that, but he could just give his conscript ally some Vickers Ks. That would be very, very strong. Of course, conscripts with light machine guns, never too bad. Anyway, a bit of a stalemate. Right now, the VP game is slightly in favor of the Axis, 492 to 367 or 76, with the control being in the Axis camp. Of course, the Axis right now are also enjoying a pretty nice advantage when it comes to resources, especially munitions, because they have both munitions points and most of these strat points on the field as well. So, of course, this half-track has been very useful to Imperial Dane, just helping him to provide more sort of map control on the right side, because he can just reinforce these units on the field, doesn't need to run back to base every time, providing more map control, very, very good for him. However, the left-hand side, the Brits are starting to get back their units, and they're going to go on a counter-offensive. Naboo still hasn't gone for the company command post, so I wonder what he's going to go for. Might be waiting for the Crocodile, but that would be a very, very long wait. He's got 4 command points, and that would be waiting until 13 command points. So that would definitely be too long, I think. I wonder what Naboo is going to go for from the company command post, because at this point I feel like it's pretty obvious that he's going to go for the company command post, but first he's going to go for the mortar emplacement just to counter the support gun. We're going to see how useful that can be. Of course, the support gun, oh wow. Rekenrifer destroying that half-track, very, very well done, actually. I mean, he did get some Vickers Ks on the field, but it's not, that half-track needs to stay alive, and it's very, very useful if it stays alive, but unfortunately it was not to be. And right now, the mortar emplacement is taking some fire, literally, but brace structure, saving it. So, Adamir, going for tier 4. Could go for the T-3476, but here comes, of course, the Stück Free from Imperial Dane. Adamir being warned from that radio intercept that the enemy had, the Stug. Right now, it seems like, though, we have the Incendiary Grenade number 2 coming on that mortar emplacement, and that's going to be the end of that. Wow. Well done by Melkor, pushing up and being very, very aggressive. That's exactly what you need to do with mortar emplacements, destroying it. So that was a bit of a waste of 400 manpower that the Brits are most definitely going to miss. And right now, those Stormtroopers are moving up with the tactical advance, but that was a bad idea because that meant that they took a massive amount of damage from those flamethrowers. Of course, here comes the half-track of a couple of Grenadier squads, but that's probably not going to do anything because here comes the anti-tank on fire from the 6-pounder. Of course, Adamir Magnum is going for T-3476. The half-track is dead, and the infantry is taking some pretty nasty beatings from the Allied troops. Here comes the Vickers K fire from the flank, and yeah, the conscripts are going to survive. Nasty bundle grenade comes in the middle of all those Soviet troops, but no wipes. No wipes, and yeah, more damage onto those Grenadiers from the Vickers Ks. Well done. Could probably use the medical supplies, and he blows up onto a mine. Yeah. Now, of course, pretty happy about the result of that mine, that detonation. He might not be too happy too soon, because he's still only now getting a P4. And Naboo has gotten a second M3 half-track instead of going with the company command post. I feel like this is a big, big mistake. He needs at least a Cromwell, if not a Firefly, on the field right now. he needs to make use of the fuel superiority that he had most of this time. And, oh shit. We have a bit of a fight between the Stug and the T-34-76. T-34 actually, that should have probably hit the Stug. And the Stug hits the stone wall. Oh, main gun destroyed. Well, isn't that bad for the Stug? Will the T-34 get the finishing blow in? Oh my god, that is so unlucky. That is so incredibly unlucky. Did you see that? Holy shit. That was very well done from the attack round of Adamir Magnum. He had definitely won that attack round battle, but he was just so unlucky. Of course, the Stug hitting that little stone wall was probably not favorable to Imperial Dane. And right now, the Stug, well, he definitely saw the life flash before his eyes in those last few moments, but he's gonna survive. And that's actually pretty nasty because, of course, on Trois Ponts, kind of a big problem with these Stugs is that it's very, very easy to flank with all these line-of-sight blockers, all these houses, all these stone walls, and all of that. So having something that can cover a narrow area like the Stug can be good, but it's easy to flank. So having two Stugs is actually infinitely more useful than having one Stug. And soon enough, Imperial Dane is going to have two Stugs. And if the Stug had died, then he would have had one Stug. I just said Stug like 17 times. Anyway, the T-34 is back on the field, and actually the Stug is still with the damaged gun. So this could be pretty bad, but the T-34 decides to stop by and destroy the machine gun, which was a very, very good decision because the machine gun has been wiped. So that was a very, very good wipe because, of course, it was a nasty, 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 and annoying piece of equipment that the Oz had to deal with. But the T-34-76 is going to die. It hits the Teller mine, and, of course, that's going to mean the end of the T-34. Unfortunate, probably should have pushed up with minesweepers. Whenever you go with a second combat engineer squad, even on a map like Trois Ponts with a lot of buildings, you probably should go with the minesweeper. Although, I mean, I can't really blame him. I probably would have made the same mistake, but still, that's like, it's a mistake. So, get minesweepers, they're good. Well done on Imperial Dane's part, placing down that Teller mine, despite the fact that he is the Encirclement Doctrine, that is to say, a very munitions-intensive doctrine with the Stormtroopers requiring that you go with a lot of munitions investments, of course, STG-44s, bundle grenades, all of that. Brace supply line is munitions. Breakthrough is actually fuel, but close the pocket is a lot of munitions. So munitions-intensive, don't like that. Why was that AT gun so pushed up? I do not know, but, well, at least one of those folks around your squads is going to get wiped. Probably this one. Ah, so lucky. So incredibly lucky. This one's going to die, though. Damn. Executed. Executed by many machine guns. Right now, Adamir Magnum is actually going with 6 conscripts, and he's getting a 7th one. Most of these are brand new, actually. You can take a look at. Yeah. Basically no veterancy, as you can see, on all of these guys. And here comes the blob. Urra, Tavarishi. Charging across the bridge, and this could be pretty dangerous. Actually, the bundle grenade was a little bit misplaced, and it hit the Pioneers. But of course, the machine gun is going to suppress all of these guys. And thanks to the SDKFZ half-track, he's able to keep the machine gun crew alive. Here comes the Sun, or the Panzer Grenadiers. So the Panzer Grenadiers actually getting completely wiped out by the Papasha Horde. Well done. Well done. You cannot see this right now, but I'm really flashing my thumb because I really like Soviet hordes. And yeah, that was a little bit of a miscalculation by Imperial Dane. He should probably micro this machine gun so that he was suppressing all the guys at once. Because for some reason in Company of Heroes 2, the area suppression is actually a little bit lower than, well, a lot lower than the individual squad suppression. So if the machine gun is targeting, say, there's like 3 squads coming in. If the machine gun is targeting squad 1, it's going to suppress squad 1 a lot, but even if the other 2 squads are like right nearby, those 2 squads are going to eat a lot less suppression. It's actually different than Company of Heroes 1 in that regard, where in Company of Heroes 1, the squad that was being targeted, of course, took a lot more damage, but if the other squads were very close, the area suppression was still essentially enough to suppress them and then pin them at roughly the same times. Whereas in Company of Heroes 2, oh, this is a terrible decision. Don't buy Ostwins at 20 minutes. Oh my god, here comes the anti-tank grenade. Of course, the Ostwin is like one of those vehicles that is big enough because it's a medium vehicle that it doesn't take engine damage at the first AT grenade, but still, don't go for Austins after like 20 minutes in game, especially once the Soviets can bring out T-34s, and I'm not sure if he has noticed if that Adamir Magnum is, whatchamacallit, advanced tactics or whatever, advanced warfare, because he might also be shock army, of course, with the conscripts of Papashas. Although, I mean, if he was shock army, he would have gone with some shock troops, you would think, so I guess he could rule out shock army. What other doctrines are there that have Papashas, reserve army? I mean, reserve army would have gotten out a ML-20 howitzer at this point, so probably, yeah, he probably should know that it's advanced warfare. But now he definitely does, because there's a T-34-85. And the T-34-85, with only one Stug to fight it, it's actually a very dangerous thing to face. Of course, we're gonna need a, you know, minesweeper. Are going to need a minesweeper. Target waypoint being used by that Stug. But the thing is, that's one of the reasons why Adamir went with so many conscripts, because he does have the conscript repair kit. So he can just really easily repair this thing, back up to full. It's one of the only ways the Soviets can actually get some pretty good repairs. Of course, along with the repair station spam and the spam of munitions into self-repair. With like, what's the doctrine? Well, Soviet industry as well, but there's another doctrine also that has self-repair that's actually very strong. It is the other T-34-85 one, the Guards Mortar Coordination. Anyway, I might have gotten that wrong. Anyway, it seems like there's some sneaky Fallschirmjägers that have been getting kind of distracted by. T-34-85 actually runs into the Rocket River earlier. Was a bit of a mistake, but yeah, he's fine. This is just calling for a Katyusha, by the way, so if Adamir Magnum goes for a Katyusha, I would be very, very happy about that. And right now, the big issue that he's facing is the fact that he does not have Tier 2. Tier 2 is always very, very strong as the Soviets, and you kind of need it, especially in the late game. Although, with so many conscripts, it's not like he's going to be able to shell out the manpower required. Here comes the concentrated fire operation. Wow, I'm good. Still, the OKW person is not having the best of days. He's just getting fucked. Can I say that? Can I say yes? He's getting fucked by all those light machine guns. So, because he's getting kind of cucked by the Germans' own game, it's usually the Germans that just spam light machine guns and win out of that. Because he's getting cucked by his own game, he should try to do something different and destroying them that way. Of course, yeah, it's basically what he's doing. He's getting the Stuka. Getting the Stuka right now solves a little bit of two issues, actually. It kind of forces Naboo not to blob his Vickers K machine gun infantry altogether, because, of course, he's afraid of the Stuka. And it forces him to be a lot more careful with his support weapons, because the Stuka is going to be strong against that. And with these sneaky Fallschirmjägers, well, he can get some spotting in that. And actually, he was waiting for the Crocodile. Wow, Naboo managing to wait for the Crocodile, even though he should not have, honestly. The Germans should have been a lot more aggressive with their vehicles. They should have been a lot more proactive and, you know, punishing the Allies for not really having that much in terms of vehicles, despite them having a sort of advantage when it comes to resources. And here comes the Katyusha Barrage. Katyusha Barrage hitting a few units, of course not really having the most effect because all the German infantry was forced to retreat already by the T-34, but that's fine. Oh damn, both of the engineers dead. That's very unfortunate. That is very, very unfortunate. Yeah, the mortars are very, very strong. You need to be kind of careful. And right now, P4 finally being a little bit more aggressive, along with these two Stugs. The Ostwind, of course, not really able to do anything. It's got its engine damage. But it may be a little bit too late. Here comes the Crocodile, and the Crocodile can deal with all of the infantry, and especially it can deal with this Raketwerfer 43. If it can do that, oh, T-34-85 is actually dead. So the Churchill Crocodile is actually without any support. This is kind of bad because that kind of opens the free-range mortar emplacement to further German advances. the anti-tank gun was repulsing these Stugs, and that's bad because that means it's not facing the Panzer IV. Panzer IV really needs to blitz and get behind this anti-tank gun, but he's not doing that, partially because he's afraid of this tank hunter infantry section sticking him, and so he has to escape. So that is very, very unfortunate. I mean, airborne assault is going down on this area, but it's actually not really doing anything because he's lost line of sight. So that was a very, 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 very unfortunate missed opportunity for the Germans. This was really the time when the Germans could have pushed in and destroyed this British redoubt on the left-hand side. Instead, the Germans are allowed, or rather the Allies are allowed to keep that, and here comes the horde of conscripts. They're able to get more AT grenades onto the Ostwind and destroy it. That is exactly why I think that the Ostwind is not really all that good, because I mean, if he had been a Panzer IV, he could have just smashed that blob to bits with massive, massive damage, and he would have been a lot more useful against enemy vehicles as well. There goes the Stug that was very heavily damaged, partially because of the deficiency of this Ostwind that was not able to keep the infantry at bay to get the engineers in there to repair. And here comes the anti-tank grenade from the infantry sections, actually. So this is not good because this allows this other infantry section horde to come in and do a lot of damage against not only these machine guns and these infantry sections, or not infantry sections, infantry units, but maybe they could provide some line of sight to extra enemy, you know, forces. Unfortunately, the Stuka barrage kind of fails. Here comes the Fallschirmjäger, actually getting instantly mortared by the Freehancher. Oh boy. Aw. That is exactly what I was talking about, the P4. I mean, the Ostwind would not have gotten that wipe. Just simply put, the Ostwind would not have gotten that. So that's why I think that the Ostwind is kind of a waste of resources, especially this late into the game. So I wonder if Imperial Dane is going to go for the tier 4 at all. Or just stick with tier 3 and try to get something out of that. If he wants to stick with tier 3, he really needs to go for some Panzer IVs, and right now he's getting punished for his lack of versatility once again, as the hordes are coming in, and they're just AT grenading all of his units down to nothing. Yet another unit, the other Stug, is taken down by a lot of AT grenades. The half-track is dead, and now this machine gun will die. Here comes the conscripts, and they're gonna be able to destroy the, you know, destroy the other Stug. Oh no, actually he cannot destroy the other Stug because he's out of munitions. He's gonna get saved by the Panzer IV and the mortar. Mortar dealing a lot of damage. One squad being wiped, and right now he needs to escape, almost getting crushed by the Stug. But no, he's gonna just mass retreat. Here comes the other AT grenade. No, it's not enough. Just barely surviving. But there's the Katyusha. The Katyusha is ready to fire, and this Stug is actually very, very heavily damaged, and it's on a bridge, and it's getting repaired with a lot of infantry nearby, so this could be potentially pretty bad and pretty nasty. Here comes the Katyusha barrage. First salvo misses, but the second salvo hits the infantry. Third salvo actually hits the Stug as well, and it's dead. Second Crocodile is on the field. Of course, because Naboo was saving up fuel all this time, he can get as many crocodiles as he wishes. And this is not going to be easy for the Germans to deal with because they're losing all of their anti-tank, they're losing all of their Stugs. And right now, unfortunately, once again, the lack of versatility, another Stuka barrage, or not Stuka, sorry, Katyusha barrage, is going to come in and prevent the Germans from recapturing this machine gun and also be very, very close to destroying the Stug. Not good. Stuka is going to fire in anger in response, but this might not be the best of barrages because he didn't have the line of sight. Didn't have the line of sight required to get a good firing solution. So, the Allies are back into this. They are able to secure the center, well, kind of. At least harass it down until now they have 2 VPs to the Germans is 1. The problem, of course, still is that they have 234 VPs as opposed to 427 for the Nazis. But in a positive note, the Allies are in a much better position when it comes to units, as you can see. 60-60 for OKW player and Soviet player, so that's even. But Naboo is basically double what Imperial Dane fields. So right now, the Allies have a nice advantage, and if they can use this advantage to good, to a good cause, they're gonna win, essentially, because as you can see, this OKW person, Melkor, is trying to take some casualties. He loses yet another squad, and he is going to lose the Vickers K and, you know, give it back to the allies. Right now, he has no ways to counter this Church Crocodile because he keeps moving that Panzer IV into all the AT guns. He's also lost the Raketenwerfer, and so Raketenwerfer plus 2 F6 Pounder plus Crocodile, he cannot deal with this with just a P4. Of course, right now, he's going to go for the KT, but the KT is going to be long coming, and of course, he also needs to be careful. Oh my god, the Crocodile destroys another squad. So, yeah, his position is not in a, it's definitely not good. Let's just say that. Just a bit of advice. I mean, if you're waiting for the KT, you might as well just be a lot more careful with how you use your units, because as you can see, he was just kind of charging into a Crocodile with infantry and one tank facing 2 AT guns. So it's not like he had the forces to push up. Perhaps he should have gone on the right side and supported Imperial Dane, who was doing pretty well on his right side. And he's still doing pretty well on his right side, despite the fact that he cannot really deal with, you know, the swarms of infantry, because he's not going for P4s, he's going for Stugs, which is still, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake. Going for P4s right now would give him a lot more versatility, and especially it would be very, very good, because it's not like it's easy to micro Stugs and machine guns against like hordes of infantry sections and conscripts and T-34-85s, and while you're getting barraged by Katyusha. So getting P4s would really like ease his micro requirements a lot. He wouldn't need to micro nearly as much, and it would be overall to his just success. Unfortunately, he's not doing that, so he's kind of, you know, putting his own foot in the grave, kind of, by getting these Stugs. And as you can see, it's like, if the enemy does not go exactly where he wants them to, you know, aka where his machine gun is facing, where his bunker is, where his Stugs are in the case of vehicles, he's in trouble, because at this point, oh look, the conscripts are not exactly in the position where I thought they would be, so now I have to turn around all of my defenses, move all of my units back around. Instead, had he had a couple of P4s, he could have driven over the conscripts, or something like that. And yeah, this is actually pretty bad also for the Stormtroopers, because tactical advance, sure, good, they do more damage, but they also take more damage. So with Papashas and a lot of rifles, it's actually very, very bad. Here comes more AT grenades. Luckily for the Stug, he was at full HP, so he did not die, or rather did not have his engine destroyed, which would have pretty much been a certain death, you know, death sentence for that T-34-85. And yeah, the left-hand side is just completely under Naboo's control. The right-hand side at this point is going to be captured by Adamir. I think that capturing the fuel is a bad idea. He should be capturing the VP first. I mean, yeah, capturing the fuel is a good idea, but he should have been capturing the VP first, because at this point in the game, you need the VPs more than you need the fuel, especially because your ally has 350 fuel. Right now, as you can see, the two Stugs are at in a very, very precarious situation, you could say. Right now, unfortunately, these Pioneers are going to be running in, and they're going to die. And with the Stugs being there, yeah, Imperial Dane is going to be replaced by the AI, and that's the end. So, what I would say, Imperial Dane of the two Nazi players was the better one, but he needed to go with some, you know, P4s, or if he wanted to go with the playstyle of like specialized vehicles, he needed to go with the tier 4, because that is what, oh damn, nice Katyusha barrage, destroying the Stuka. Because if you want to go with specialized vehicles as the Germans, well, especially the, you know, the Wehrmacht, you need that tier 4, because you need Brumbears to deal with infantry, especially on a map that tends to sort of tunnel the infantry and funnel them into one place, you know? Very, very choke pointy type of map like this one, like Trois Ponts. What you want, essentially, is Brumbears, because if you're going to be going with the specialized, if you're going to be going with the versatile type of build, just get the Panzer IVs. They're good. Get the Panzer IVs, pick a Tiger Doctrine or something. One or the other, or both. If you're going with the specialized, you go with the tier 4, because one, Brumbears are strong, much better than Austrians at being specialized in infantry. Two, You might want a Panther. Might. I'm actually not sarcastic in this. I mean, the Stugs are good on this map if you want specialized AT. But you also might want a Panther in some circumstances. Like, for example, if the enemy has Katyusha, the Panther is useful because you can actually... there's this path that nobody uses, so you can take the Panther around here, especially if you control the right side of the map, then get around, sneak, sneaky Panther, and oh look, I'm behind the Katyusha, and I can kill them, or something. You might have to sacrifice your Panther, but it could be worth it. You could also do that with a P4. So, once again, versatile, but you can't do that with a Stug. Stug is just too much reliant on the enemy coming to it, because it's a fixed gun, doesn't turn. So, what if it comes in behind there, and it moves in here, and oh look, the Katyusha's not here, it's here. And, oh look, the Stug has to turn around slowly. Oh look, I'm a Stug, I'm turning around, imagine. Okay, I'm a Stug, I'm turning around slowly but surely. And right now, the Katyusha has already slipped away. So that's why the Stugs can't really flank, and they can't really hunt down Katyusha. And, yeah, also Panzerwerfers. They're bad, but they can be good, okay? The Panzerwerfers are not the best, but... They can work, okay? They can be useful, especially on a map like Trois Ponts. Once again, so I talked way too much about the Wehrmacht guy. What about the OKW person? I would say that the OKW person, well, the OKW person, he just lost his infantry. He just kept doing the same thing. Like, just look at this: 12 kills, 16 kills. All up to vet free, 19 kills. Well, I mean, no need for that. Wait, where did this guy... Does this thing get shared veterancy? Because that's 0 kills, and it must not have done all that much damage. Huh. Yeah, okay. That's all actually reinforcement stuff, so that makes a thing. It makes a thing. And the mortar pit, 13 kills. So what this tells me is that there was a lot of infantry murdering going on with Naboo. Am I right? 120. Oh, actually, more kills for Adamir. Wow. Was not expecting that. Anyway, units lost 124 for Melkor and 121 kills for Naboo. So it's very, very likely that what was just happening is that the infantry from Melkor just could not keep up with the British. And when the British, especially when they go special weapons, when the British are going relatively hard on the infantry sections, as the OKW, you don't just play into their cards and you get, Volksgrenadiers. That is the thing you do not do. Perhaps you go with the Obersoldaten, perhaps you go with some Fallschirmjägers. That would be good. Or another thing that you could do, some advanced tactics, is go, early on with a Lux. You could try to do that. Of course, special weapons is exactly the kind of doctrine that counters the Lux. So perhaps you see special weapons, no, you don't get the Lux. But you could have gone with the flak half-track earlier. You can go with, spamming a few machine guns or something. And you can go with spamming Panzer IVs, which is, I think, what Melkor had in mind. Of course, this kind of circumstances in the game kind of forced them to get a Stuka, which was a decent decision, but in the end, it didn't pay off. So that was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, that's about it. So I want to thank you all for watching. That's basically about it. Yeah, that's basically about it. Yep. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And yeah, I will see you soon.